Good morning, everybody, and good morning here. Good morning to the online audience as well that are joining us from all over the world. I hope you're all well. I hope you managed to see some films. Who went to see a film? Oh, wow, yeah. Who went to see 2 films? Hardcore. I'm asking because today is going to be all about programming. So we've been talking a lot about marketing, about building loyalty with your customers, but we are here at Il Cinema Ritrovato, the temple of cinema, and we should also be talking about films, of course. So the first session today is going to be around curation, programming, and we've got a really great lineup for you. Listen in, take things in. We're going to be expecting you to come up with some really great ideas around the Hitchcock film, which you saw on the opening night. So also start getting some ideas together. But I'm really delighted that Vincent Paul-Boncour from Carlotta Films, one of the most important label in repertoire cinema, is here to talk to us about some of his work. Vincent, please come up.
I do it comme vous voulez.
Comme vous préférez, moi je peux le faire pour vous.
Oui, très bien. Ouais, ouais. Bah, ça dépend s'il faut que j'accède vers l'avenue, comme je mets là. Je mets à votre place. D'accord. Hop.
Désolé.
Bonjour. Hello to you. So my name is Vincent Paul-Boncour. I'm the co-founder of Carlotta Film, a French distribution company specialized on classic. Maybe some of you knows Carlotta Film either by our work on theatrical release or video release, or also we have our own platform, Video Club de Carlotta. Anyway, yeah, so the company is celebrating its 25th birthday this year, and we start as just a quick background of Carlotta Film. We start as a French distribution company on theater, so specialized on releasing movie in cinema. At the time, 25 years ago, it was with print, no DCP, so it was different kind of challenge. And so we start like that. And a few years after arrived the DVD, which was something that was very important between the difference between VHS and DVD. So we extend our work on classics revival on home video. And later, we always was very taking a lot of importance of all the new media. So every time we extend on the new our work on classics on the new media that was appearing on the market. So after there was DVD became Blu-ray, nowadays UHD in 4K. We extend our work on VOD, SVOD, and also working with all the people that could work on classics revival in France, other platform, independent platform, TV broadcaster, and other. But that's true that our main, nowadays our 2 main activities are theatrical release and still video, physical video, which is still existing, and not, of course, in France, not, of course, as strong as 10, and I'm not counting 20 years ago, but still existing, and there is still an audience to buy collector editions, classics, big box set, and other. And so this morning, I will talk to you more especially about our work on theatrical release, and with the example of a movie to show you how we are doing that in France. So it's not something revolutionary, because of course for all of you there will be a lot of things that you know. But taking an example of Virgin Suicide. Virgin Suicide is already a classic because it could feel that it's too recent movie, but this film has been released 24 years ago, so it's more than 2 decades. And of course, there is new generations of audience, cinephile, that certainly didn't see the film, or maybe saw the movie on video, on TV, or VOD, of course, even though it's not the most Sofia Coppola film easy to see, whatever the media. But that's sure that maybe 2 generations never saw the movie in theater. And it's true that all the work we start like 25 years ago is the experience of seeing a movie, a classic movie in cinema, which is nothing to compare regarding all the other possibilities. So Virgin Suicide is a film produced by, is the first feature film of directed by Sofia Coppola. Did you see the movie? Yeah? So who saw the movie? Okay, so there is very good cinephile. But who saw it in cinema? Maybe half of it. So even here, there will be, I say, on the people that saw the movie, half of it didn't see the movie in cinema. So you could imagine the generations after us. So it's a movie that became cult very quickly. It was shown at Director's First Night 24 years ago. It was released in theaters a year after, and it was really a revelation of a new director, and not only the daughter of a famous director. So we discovered Sofia Coppola with this movie. It was kind of success at the time, but not a big success. It was more, you know, it had a good reputation, so the press was amazing. There was something, but it was maybe one of the movie of the 15 that was releasing in theater at the time. So you didn't have the background and the question of time. So, but nevertheless, this kind of movie, from even it's the end of the 90s, it's almost 2000, this kind of movie became very cult, maybe more than with the theatrical release, but with the other media, so with video, TV, and other. So Virgin Suicide has been restored by American Zoetrope. American Zoetrope, as you know, is Francis Ford Coppola company, producing company. He produced the movie, and the film has been restored by the American right owner. And in France, the right owner is Pathé. Pathé owns all the rights to the movie because they have a strong relationship with Francis Coppola and, of course, all the family. And they have all right for France. And we ourselves, as an independent distributor, we are working with all worldwide right owner, because we are working on all kind of movie from Europe, from Asia, etc., etc. And in France, we also have the occasion and opportunity to work with French companies such as Studio Canal, TF1, and Pathé. This company, of course, they are based in France. You could say they don't need us, but they have their own sales people doing the programmation, but they are really focused on new movie, and for them the economy of classics and even the specificity of working on classic title, they don't really know it, and they feel the right way that they should collaborate with independent distributor like us to work really on this kind of specific release. So we license the film to Pathé only for the theatrical rights. They will do themselves the video and all the other rights. And so you start to work on Virgin Suicide. So what you could do with the titles to bring it to an audience of nowadays. Some people, we just saw that, know the movie, saw it, or didn't see it in theater. And so with this kind of movie, more recent, the challenge is to bring the interest of people to see again the movie they didn't see for 20 years, 25 years. It was quite rare because at the time the film was in 35mm and it has never been digitalized, so there was no DCP existing. And you know that nowadays without DCP, the fact to show the movie in theater is more more complicated and more difficult if it's only in 35. So it's the first time this is, you have a 4K element and a DCP. This is why also we are releasing it. So, so the challenge is, as I was saying, is to bring the interest of people that could know the movie, but to bring them back to the cinema to see it. And in parallel, the other challenge is to make known the movie, aware, like a new movie, to a new generations and new people. So this is a release. It will be in July 12. So this is a new poster. I will come back a little bit later. So we made a new poster, and we are not working from the poster of the time, even though it was a good one, but to have something more fresher and new, we are working on a new design. So we announce through our social network, because we are certainly, as you, working strongly with social network. We are, of course, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other. And we have an important database of contact, email from PR, press, and audience. So we announced it like a few months ago, maybe in March. Yeah, I think March. So a long time ago, before the theatrical date release, which is July. So it's also a work in a long time in advance, even for an issue like a new movie, to develop and to create desire. So this is just the announcement of releasing Virgin Suicide in theater, the first time for when it has been made 24 years ago, has been kind of an event of its kind, and we without almost doing nothing. When I say almost, it's always our work. We already got, with just the first announcement on our social network, a lot of very good feedback and reviews, automatic reviews on important newspaper on their internet website, like Les Inrecuptibles, Vogue, and other, because this film is also cinephile, but fashion, young audience, and other. So it was the announcement. This is the original French poster made at the time. I believe it was kind of the international poster, you know, so with maybe few specificity, but it was the poster that was released for the first time, and we made this one. So you can see the difference. This one was only on Kirsten Dunst. At the time, she was a young actress, almost not known. She has been discovered on this movie, and you could see her in many art house other movies. And we decide not to be not only on her, but also on the Four Sisters, because for those who saw the movie, this is the four main characters, very strong together. Story of these four sisters, with a new photo, new design. It's strangely just a small details, but more marketing. Virgin Suicide, the typo, how the title was written, was very classics, nothing to do with the movie, and this writing is from the generic, because the film is also like a kind of girly in very different aspect, and we took the typo from the generic. And so we start, of course, yeah, I didn't talk about the music, but everybody knows the movie thanks to the music of Air. Air soundtrack. Air was also a new band. They just made one album that has been kind of a revelations, but they were not as known as they become just a few years after. And for this movie, Sofia Coppola hired Air to do a new soundtrack. So it was not the use of soundtrack already made, and just for the anecdote, the movie has been done, edited, and there was no music, and they start the music, Air starts the music from seeing the movie, and you could imagine the difference when you see and you hear the film. The music is so strong that you could imagine there could have been an inspiration from Sofia Coppola by the movie to do the movie. So we had the right, because it was contractual, to use the music of Air for the advertising, and we did a new teaser trailer. I don't know if it's working. No. It was just a picture, because there was another one without. Okay, anyway. So you can see it on our website. You can see it on social network. It's not just to do advertising, but you could go to Carlotta Film and you will see the new teaser trailer, which is a brand new one. And also to when you, because this release for us is really an important one. It's not just a few print release, and we want to have a release in various cinema in Paris and also all the rest of France. So to create a desire for the exhibitor first, but also the press, we decide to do some memorabilia, some merchandising, and so this is some example of what we are doing on some gift. Nothing will be sold, it will be only gift for the exhibitors and at the end the audience. So you have some postcard, you have some pins, you have a clutch bag. So we try to always, as a poster, to stay on the spirit of the movie, of course, and not to do something different and to be close to what is the movie. And we did also pins. Because all of this kind that was popular at the time is really coming back, and we know that the audience also like this kind of gift, and it's a use that could be done whatever you want for the exhibitor. For example, they can give it for the first admissions, at the first screening. They will communicate on it. Okay, first audience arriving, you'll get for free this kind of merchandising. Or they could also do to win them through their social network and other. There are different kind of possibilities. Of course, it's limited, but it's not, because it's a question of budget also. And we are dedicated a part of numbers to each theater and other. You have some media partners, so there is some institution, like, I don't know if you know them, la DRC, which is an association who is doing a work with small and medium theaters to bring the film sooner than the big cities. AFCAE, I'm sure you know AFCAE, Art House Association in France. And so they are also, it's not just logos, they are also partner of the release. It does mean they will support the release through their members and other. And you have some media partner, more classics of newspaper, daily newspaper like Libération. La 7e Obsession is a monthly or every 2 months magazine about cinema, and we have other ones that are not automatically there. Also, the idea as a new movie to organize some premiere and preview, not just because it's an old movie, it shouldn't benefit of some buzz with some preview and premiere. And so we had, you have the name, some screening before the release in July. So la Colo Panic Cinema is in the Forum des Images, quite a popular event for young audience, and some screening in other cities. Nothing in Paris, by the way. So it's also good to have some preview, not only in Paris. And in September, there is a big festival organized by la DRC called Play It Again, which is a kind of the best release of the years, like Telerama festival that you may know. And so in September, there is this festival every year for maybe 10 years now. And Virgin Suicide is one of the films selected. So, and you see, luckily for us, it's doing the cover of the festival and the poster. And it will be a kind of a second life of the film because it will be released in July, and like 2 months after, it will be also part of this festival. And you have the definitive date, French Theatre in July 12. So here is a short, and I hope quick because time was quick, presentation of with an example, specific example of one of our release this summer in a French theatre.
Thank you. That was really, really great. It's exciting for me because we're actually helping Park Circus release the film in the UK at the end of July. So maybe we can swap some assets.
Yeah,
We've done a lot of social media assets, and the clutch bag. Wow. Do you have any?
No. If The
That's a
clutch bag?
yeah.
Not yet, not yet. I
Yeah.
wish I have, but I don't have enough. But I have the pins,
Oh yes.
this one. So don't fight to get it.
I
You
am
have one for you because you are there. Maybe I've got some more.
Thank
The
you.
clutch bag is maybe arriving
Oh wow.
end of this month. But come to Paris to see the movie. Be the first audience,
Yeah.
and you could get a clutch bag. And there will be some of you for you. Yeah.
No, that's great. And with obviously the Air soundtrack is something we're looking at as well. We even tried to invite them over as like the main act. Are you managing to do anything with Air themselves?
With Air, there will be some screening. We didn't mention it, but of course there are one of the two. Anyway, the two are living in Paris, so it's easier.
Yeah.
And I believe, sorry, I forgot his name, one of the two. He went to the festival in Metz and for La Colo Panic Cinema, which is the opening movie of their 5 days film festival. He will be there for the presentation of the movie.
Great.
So he's happy to be part of it after, I don't know, his schedule and other and the rest of the world. But when we contact him, he was very kind and happy to have the film released and to have a new actuality.
Yeah.
So he could be involved on, he will be involved on some of the screening.
No, and it's great to have a distributor in a room because we haven't had that. We're exhibitors, and to kind of get a sense of all the campaign elements. And I think often there's a disconnect between all the hard work that's been done by the distributor in terms of thinking through about merchandise, assets, and so on. So thinking about, how you can work more closely with distributors to make sure that you're sort of maximizing the impact of those assets and you're in close collaboration with them. I mean, how do you find working with exhibitors on the whole? What's been your experience? Are they very active in taking up some of the opportunities and using the assets, or do you feel like you have to do a lot of the legwork?
I will say both, in fact. Of course, I didn't mention it, but it's natural in a way. The relationship between us, the distributor and exhibitor is very important. So we have to create a link, and of course, they used to work together for 25 years. Of course, the interest or your interest will always depend on the movie. If you like the movie, if you want to show it, if you imagine there is a potential that it could please your audience and you could bring audience to the film. And but of course, all the work we are doing to extend it, to maximize the potential we imagine as a distributor of the film is very important, and it's a strong collaboration with exhibitors. But that's true that it's also one of the challenges, I don't know for every country, but in France, there is so many releases every week of new movie, but also classics. They could be, I won't say at this level, because it's one of the most important theatrical release of the summer for us, but also, I believe, of the market, is to be able to exist and to have the film book to the theaters. So we'll work with mostly art house theater all over France. Maybe some multiplexes or other, but we know the audience is more for art house places. And our challenge is, like for every release, of course, depending on the potential and the level, is to have this release on the 12th of July as a new movie. So, of course, not as a big art house blockbuster or American one or French one, but regarding art house film of discovery and other, we have the feeling that it should get the same treatment. Yeah. So, as an exposure on the theater, regarding the number of screening and other, and it could work more than many other new movies. So it's also this kind of things you have to bring and to agree all together and to make agree the cinema, the programmer. But one of the most challenging is to find space and to get to access to the screen, but in the right way on both interests, not to get the maximum number of screening, but the right
an
one.
empty cinema,
exactly.
The right one.
So it's a real collaboration that you certainly have with the distributor, but and to make aware of the potential. Maybe we are wrong, maybe we are right. You never know as a distributor, to make aware that and to show how much we believe on the release, and not just have a DCP and to give it to you, and that's all, and you have to do the work.
Yeah.
Of course, there is work to do on your cinema and other, but with the help and the assistance of the distributor, there is already all this marketing existing to bring all together the best release and to bring the audience in the cinema.
I think it's really interesting how you talk about, you know, rep titles being kind of put back out into the market almost like a new film. And I do think this is a question for this lab, but maybe is the future of cinema older films? You know, is the future of cinema the past of cinema? Because you're going...
I would say both.
Yeah, you're going
it's
into...
good to have you.
It's good to have both, but, you know, it's an interesting thing that there is more knowledge about the Virgin Suicides than perhaps a brand new film which is coming out of the Quinzaine in Cannes. There's more awareness about Sofia Coppola. There is, you know, so it is an interesting proposition. And if you look at the US market, the majority of independent cinemas are focusing on rep much more than in European countries. So it's something to think about in the mix of your work. And also in terms of attracting a younger audience. Because revisiting something like the Virgin Suicides, you see the kind of images you've picked. It can really resonate with the current audience. But yeah, it's fascinating. I think there's a bigger discussion, perhaps not for today, but around how great distributors like Carlotta can perhaps share some of the assets and the campaign ideas they're creating back with the sales agent to support some of the smaller, well, some countries that film won't be distributed, so exhibitors will book directly through Park Circus or other sales agents, but thinking about how we can be clever about, you know, sharing asset ideas to make the films work better. It's a sort of international level. But obviously you're focused on France. That's the first focus.
We are mostly specialized for France. On some titles, we could also represent international rights, and so working with worldwide for special screening, festival, or even to license the film. For example, we released, you know, the famous French actress Jeanne Moreau, but she was also a director. So between mid-70s, end of 70s, she made 2 feature films and documentary, and this was kind of revelations. Nobody knew or everybody forgot about that. And so we release a film in France, but we are also representing international rights. So we are able to work also with other exhibitors. But that's true that's on some specific projects. Mostly our work is made for release in France or Belgium and Switzerland.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there because we're behind schedule. But it's been really, really great to have you here.
Okay, thank you very much.
And good luck with the release. I'll get in touch with you separately.
Okay, you have that.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we're going to invite Vejune Dudeniene from Skalvijos in Lithuania. Yeah, great. Who's gonna talk to us about In the Mood for Cinema. Very nice.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vejune Dudeniene. I know it's not easy to pronounce it. And I'm going to have a short presentation about curating and programming at Skalvija Cinema Center. So Skalvija is located in Vilnius. It's an old art house cinema with the 60 years of history, but only just the past more than 20 years we became really focused on our house films and classic films. And firstly, I would to say a little bit about our audience, because 2 years in a row we're doing surveys, trying to get more knowledge about people who come to Skalvija, about their needs and preference. So you can see the portrait. And it is a young, educated woman that comes more than once per month to Skalvija, and she wants to know a program in advance. Because differently than others, we program for 1 month, which is kind of difficult. So now we're trying to program for 2 weeks, and to see what's happening, because it was, like it's a new release, and we can't have any expectations if it will be popular or no. So the main idea, I believe, reflects the name of my presentation, is In the Mood for Cinema. So we pay a lot of attention to these things, like quality, and the program should be curated, diverse, open to new audience, and of course targeted content. And the question, so what do we screen? Actually, we screen a lot, and but we pay a lot of attention to national films, to film history, to festival films, European cinema, and we are at the place of niche cinema as well. So Skalvija has been known for many years as the home for classics. So like people recognize us like a place where you can find a good classic films. So as you can see, there are main projects and initiatives, Sunday classic screenings, retrospective of filmmaker. It happens 1 or twice per year. Cinema after lecture, Long Live Lithuanian Cinema, which is Lithuanian classics. Vilnius Documentary Film Festival with a documentary retrospective program. Film Club, Ukrainian classics. We start screening it after the war started. And Deep River and Silent. Well, you see it in the picture. So I won't talk about all of them, but I want to mention some. So the longest our project, and well best known, is Sunday classic screenings. So for a whole month we screen one film, and it is introduced all the time by a famous filmmaker or film critic. So we cooperate with well-known graphic designers. We make an original poster, we make a marketing company for it, and actually now to screen classics became really trendy. So we have a privilege to make our program more diverse, because you can find classics in all film festivals. You can find classics in other art house cinemas, and so even some independent distributors started to distribute classic films. And so what we do? We screen, we do mixed screenings, mixed programming. So we screen a real well-known film like Blade Runner, yes, or Wild at Heart. But next to it, we screen less known film, like Czech film Markéta Lazarova, or first ramen western Tom Popa, Japanese. So we try to give something more to our audience, that they, would broaden their view of cinema. Another, I think, kind of interesting project is Cinema After Lecture, because cinema is always used in studying process, so we want to attract students' audience and invited lecturers, professors, to give lectures at our place. So they propose the program, the films they want to screen, and we manage the rights. So so far we had screenings of, for instance, 12 Angry Men. It was the topic was about the law, or about the sound, and we screened the Space Odyssey. So it is a really nice project, and we see new faces coming to Skalvija. We're happy about that. Well, for a fun part, we started Film Club, and to foster the sense of community and belonging, we have a party every year. So we screen a film with 3 drinks. So last December, we had a film, Rosemary Baby, which was not so fun, but next to it we served special Bloody Mary cocktails. So it was very fun. And for Film Club as well, we have special screenings. They have free entrances to some events. So actually, well, for us it's kind of easy, because we are well recognized by screening classes in general. So our audience, they expect all the time something good happens here. And future, what is about the future and the mood for cinema? So you can see 2 pictures. One of them is with the food truck standing next to Skalvija. So we don't serve food, only snacks and dessert. But for opening day of Boncour Wide Retrospective, we invited our visitors, our guests, to have some lunch with us and to have some ramen or bao. So it means that we more and more need to focus on doing something special, giving something special, more events, because we feel that our audience expects something. We cannot be just we screen and everyone will come and it will be a sold out. No, we want to, you know, to give something. And myself, I'm not a programmer. I am, it's a long film education and young programs manager, young audiences program manager. So I strongly believe that education could help to have audiences later. And for more than, I would say, for more than 16 years, we are doing different educational projects. There are three of them are long-lasting, and I believe that it could inspire young audiences to come back and to be a part of our cinema, a part of our community, and to love cinema as well. Thank you. If you're interested more, so you can see Facebook and Instagram logos. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That was super inspiring. So many good examples of cool events you can organize. I was really impressed by, you started off with audience metrics. You seem to have done a lot of research. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, well, because we all the time thought like we know who are coming, and we know that it's kind of, we'll see young people, we see seniors, and we did it very intuitively. But it was a time when we wanted like to change, for instance, the program, and we needed a real data. For instance, this survey, the second one was based on if our audience will survive, if we would program for 2 weeks only, if they will be okay. And the first one was in general to know who is our audience, because I see it as a young people coming. My colleagues see it's like more older people coming, and everyone was very much like having their own view.
That's I think that's so important, so smart, because you also talked about targeting your events to specific audiences, really thinking about who do you want to attract. So what kind of audience are we going to, what kind of event are we going to organize around a specific movie? You also said your audience starts to expect there will be something special about to happen.
They used to have something special all the time, and sometimes we feel that maybe it's not so good. But in general, we have a privilege because we are municipality funded. Not, of course, all our budget comes. We need to make money and so on, but we can do events. So why not?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's great if you get your audience in that like mindset that they expect it's going to be special at your space. Also, maybe, I don't know, seems like a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot of, yes, that's true.
Well, for the sake of time, we have to go to the next person, but really thank you for sharing and inspiring us.
Thank you too.
Next up was, I did have this queued up. Valentina, of course.
Allora, buongiorno a tutti, sono Valentina di Lab 80 Film, lavoro per una piccola società and I work for a small company that deals with distribution, and that was born mid-70s. I'm here to talk to you how how important it is for us, the films of the past. As you can see, in the past, in time, King of the Roads by Wim Wenders, and I think you know them. But it's a title that's very important for our history, a connecting link between the past and the present. And I explain why this title was distributed, released for the first time in Italy by ourselves, and in 1978 the club decided to open up its first cinema theater called the Schermo Bianco, the white screen, and defining it movie theater is a little bit too much, and I'm going to tell you why. And the first screening was of the film in the course of time, and in 1972 was closed down with the screening of this film. I would like to show you a video of this movie theater. It's a Super 8. You're going to see an overview of the hall and the day when it was closed down. Basically, it was a cave. Schermo bianco, white screen in Italian. You see the billboard and the poster, and King of the Roads. In Italian it's nel corso del tempo, in the course of time. What you see to the right is our current manager, Paul. And they're removing the posters. It was really the very last day of the life of this place. Let's get back to the present. In 2021, we decided to open up a new movie theater, a new venue, and we tried to find out what would be its name, and then we went back to the past, and the movie theater is called Lo Schermo Bianco. What was the first screening of Wenders' film, the same film that ended up the life of the prior film, and we are the distributor ourselves. let's say that 2021 in Bergamo, after all that had happened due to the pandemic, was a risk and a challenge. And we said, we have to find something that brings back people into the movie theater. So we decided to create a new program, and we put in the room both a digital projector as well as a 35 millimeter. And this projector comes from a bankruptcy. So we have invented this thing. Every Monday, these are 5 events of this program. We present these films in 35 millimeters, and what surprised us, a public of nostalgic people, yes, but very, very many young people attended, and they came. Paradoxically, we open up more on Monday evenings with screening of these films rather than other films, other current films. So it's really something unusual, something special.
I must say, that movie that you showed
Il film
was beautiful. It's like video art almost. So that's really really inspiring, and I like the fact that you screen a lot on 35 millimeters. You said you really reach back into the past, and I think also as Maddie said, it's like the future of cinema could very well be the past. So you are an amazing example of that. Can you tell something about audience feedback, like that you get on what you do? Like, can you maybe explain some more about why the audience likes that so much, what you're doing?
che fate. Avete un'idea? We have a fond audience, and we have always accustomed them to this type of proposals on this new target, and the young people that have come into our movie theater is something. It's something that personally has left us a little bit puzzled and upset, so to speak, because we didn't expect it. We are trying to understand more and more in order to do the right screening, because it's a share of a public, of audience that we care for a lot.
Well, it's just it's so cool. It's food for thought, and I wish we could delve more into this, and I think really your experience, you should really share them with your group in the workshop, because we're going to go straight into the workshop, unfortunately. But I want to give you just another great applause for sharing and doing this with us. I also hope that all our online viewers are as excited as we are. Yeah, and we say goodbye to them because we're going to do secret stuff. Like, I got my fill, as you said. And today my other colleague is coming, our programmer, to visit the festival. So there will be cocktails. Yes, we have to show him around, of course. So we're gonna do the same routine, just let them present quickly, sort of feedback it, and we'll go to lunch. Yeah. I think it would be good also to reserve a little bit more time because we have 4 talks after the debrief. Give them, because it overruns. It's 4 talks, half an hour. It's just too short. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we should just give all the speakers a timer. At least they give them like 5 minutes, and then there's some time to go into what they're saying. At least they themselves have kind of an idea of how much time they're spending. Yeah. I'll see if there's anyone over there. Okay. If everyone can come back, we can get started because we are unfortunately on a tight schedule. We have so much to discuss and do. Just like in the last workshop, we're going to ask you to quickly present what you came up with. So maybe the group one can. I hope you've already elected someone to do a quick recap, and maybe that person can come to the front already. Lucky you. Or maybe group one has wandered off. Oh, there you are. Okay, good. Do you want to sit or do you want to? Okay, good. So you have about 1.5 minutes. So like, yeah, I see like a PowerPoint with 10 pages, but it's you can use this one. There you go. And then once everyone is seated, we'll start right away. Okay. Very curious to hear what you've come up with.
Okay, so in 1.5 minutes. The topic is like a mental health month. It's not only the screening of film Spellbound, but the diversity of the films combining by the mental health issues. Primary target audience are students 18 to 25. What kind of the approaches to communicate is collaboration with the universities and having the famous people talking about, like we would shoot the small trailer where the famous actors in our countries are in there, so they are inviting to talk about what is not spoken. Our initiative in a sentence is speaking about what is not spoken about. Key elements of campaign are to become aware, learn more about mental problems through movies, books, arts, music, plus getting closer to the cinema and arts. So it's a month, so it's not just the screenings, but the screenings are combined from the Spellbound as early topics of the mental health in the cinema to the contemporary ones. Challenges are to attract the audience and finding the right kind of the approach of communication. Okay, I don't know, 10 seconds. Workshop screenings, gatherings plus discussions. Not to feel alone, understand themselves other better, learn the topics about mental health are common and should be spoken about and treated like physical diseases as well. So it is okay. Thank you.
Go straight to group 2 in that case. If you want to.
Feels like a press conference. So in May 2024, there's a new Mental Health Awareness Week. And we want to create a film program in which Spellbound. We were thinking of the old school Freud compared to the new school Freud. For example, Beau is Afraid, the new film. Yet, that's all like male gazy, male directors, and we want to add some voices to that. Yeah, so it's about mental health. It's also about film history. As an audience, we want to focus on young people because mental health is high on their agendas, especially after COVID, of course. Yeah, I think a few challenges are how to keep it accessible. Also, the tone of our campaign, I will get to that, but it's really ironic in a way. It's really light-hearted, where it's a very serious topic and there's a lot of fragility involved, of course. And also, we want to include experts. I will get to that also. But sometimes it's really kind of boring, let's be honest. So we have to think of that. Yeah, so I think important for our concept is that there's introductions, discussions, and we want to make that crew really diverse. So have a film journalist, have a mental health specialist, have a good moderator, but also include youngsters in the discussions or introductions. And maybe also use the same crew for a lot of events because you create chemistry, people know what to expect from them, etc. Maybe we can even use a young person as a moderator. That could maybe be interesting. Even though I think the series is accessible to a very big audience, of course. We focus on youngsters, but it's broadly accessible. So you have to think about that too. Then the campaign, we were thinking of the title, What the Freud? And you can go a lot of ways with that. You can make like a hip-hop jingle to promote it on the socials. There were talks of a clothing line, straight jacket inspired. I don't know what a straight jacket is, but maybe. Oh yeah. It really, yeah. Okay. Because a lot of Freud's ideas are about the parent-child relationship. We were thinking of a bring your parent discount. We can do some polls, like would you prefer pills or being electrocuted? And we want to do a Freudian TikTok. I don't know how that would look like, but yeah. I think that's it. Yeah.
There it is. So some really cool thoughts immediately. Thank you for sharing. I think we can all copy that and use it in our own countries and cinemas. So thanks. What the Freud? Yeah, we can make this into a European program. This is awesome. So group 3, please give us the same kind of cool ideas.
Okay, so we have focused our attention in the way that the character of Ingrid Bergman was represented in this film. She is a woman on charge with authority in the topic she's an specialist in, and the actress they choose for this character was quite obvious, we thought, no, because she inspires like authority. She has I don't know, she's tall, big shoulders, so it's kind of the person you will automatically think of, no? So we have thought of making a program throughout the month of March, which is the day of the month of the International Women's Day, about the representation of women in film, women in charge, women in power. And this program would be called something like "Girls Just Wanna Have Suspension Points." Feel it however you want. Just rights, power, respect, fun, whatever you like. There will be 4 films, 4 or 5 films, well, yeah, one each week. We have thought of titles like Legally Blonde, Erin Brockovich, Ad Astra, Devil Wears Prada, the first Almodóvar's film, Pepi, Lucy, Bomb, Una chica del montón. The target audience will be mostly the same as we saw in the presentation, highly educated or with high education, young people, mostly women, with an interest in cinema and in cultural and social topics. There will be an introduction for each of the film by academic people with a feminist perspective, or also women from the film industry. We will advertise this in social media, but also in universities, in students' unions, the film societies, university radio, but also in national radios. And we will try to invite to collaborate to publishing houses that nowadays they are publishing lots of books in this kind of feminist topics, so they could, I don't know, place maybe an stand and show the new books on this. Also, the program will be complemented with 1 or 2 discussions in other days, in different days. Also, maybe with coffee to have a debate around this, revolving these ideas, and we will design one image for the whole program, and not just one poster for each of the films, but just one design, including all the information. And the challenges will be, of course, get the interest of the people, attract men to see these films and these ideas, and at the same time avoid offending any I don't know, fragile or not fragile, any how do you say that? Well, try not to be offensive. That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, those are some interesting challenges. Like, we're going straight to group 4, and then maybe Marimi will give some general remarks afterwards. Because let's.
So, hello, hi. Basically, we also went into the Freud direction and came up with something like Sleepless in Cinema or Dreams in Films, and the event would be like a kickoff for a film series about dreams in films, like 8.5 of Fellini, or to get through to a younger audience, it would be The Big Lebowski, and of course you start with a party. You can have a White Russian and maybe I don't know, finger food looking like eyes or whatever. And we thought it would be good to have a cooperation if you have, for example, a university with a psychology or whatever, or you have center for psychotherapy in your city, you find a cooperation with them would be a good thing. And another possibility to get a bit interactive were if you got the space to have a little green screen. You can work with little ones, for example, and older ones, and create your dream background and put yourself into the background. And of course, you have then little videos you can use for social media. And well, that's basically it. I forgot something. Where's my group? Well, challenges, of course you have challenges, everything. Getting through to the young audience, but you get the university and you got a cooperation, for example, like the students of the psychology part, you get to the young adults at least. And if you don't have that, of course you have to find a way to get to them, if it's free White Russians or whatever.
That's always a good one. Free booze. Okay, thank you. Number 5. It's almost like a pageant.
Hello, everyone. Is it okay like this? Yeah. Perfect. So our target audience, we chose like a quite difficult one. Teenagers from 15 till 18 years old. We were thinking, what do they want? And they want quick content, love stories, something they can relate to, but maybe also some of them want like the horror movies that entertain them and to watch with some friends. They are also already or always interested in free food, drinks, gadgets, and like creative, Instagrammable TikTok moments, for example, a photo wall or photo booth. So our main idea was to like create a Hitchcock legacy program where we combine the old movie Spellbound with a new one. And we hope that we can like persuade them to come with a new one because it's something they know. So for example, we were thinking about Spellbound combining with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but we were also thinking about other Hitchcock movies like Lifeboat and then combine it with Gravity or other like space-related movies where someone gets stuck. And for the program, we were thinking about having it like with an introduction or some side information, but by a peer or like a youngster as well, or someone who's like an actress or a TikTok star who's also interested in movies and can bring, like, learn them something about Hitchcock, but not in like the teacher-student way. So how will we communicate with them? Through TikTok mainly, like verticals, snackable content, and through influencers. Because it's 2 movies, it will be hard to like engage them for both of them. So we're thinking about doing a 1+1 for free, or like giving some gadgets or free food in between to persuade them to come. And for the communication, we were thinking we can let them like pair the visuals or the movie posters, or like make mixed trailers with both of them. Maybe also the Wes Anderson ID, like the Hitchcock style movies. Yeah, and so the challenges I already mentioned, like how do you persuade them to have like come and watch both movies? Because it will take longer, so we should choose like movies that don't take too long. And also, how can we retain it? Like, if you want to do a few Hitchcock movies, like make it like a monthly or a weekly thing, how do we keep them interested? Oh, and also, like, if we reach them through the nice TikTok formats, how do we get them from being like getting their attention to like buying the tickets? Because you can make nice TikToks and they can be like, oh, it's funny, it's nice, but how do you make them buy a ticket or come to your venue? So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. And a really good point, like how do you make them buy, especially because it's an audience that often doesn't have that much money. So really something to think on for everyone. Group number 6.
So like group 1, 2, and 4, surprise, and we worked on the psychological and traumatic movies, but we've got a name. It's a Beautiful Mind. It's a cine club, and so we wanted to make a focus like a cine club about this kind of movies. And yes, we wanted to start with a Chinese, how to tell, a tiny truc. That's called a tree hole, where people can put the traumatic experiences or thoughts, but it's not a true tree. We want to work with a professional to create a digital one, and people can put, but de manière anonyme, without a name, with a surname, nickname. They can put the thoughts and the traumatic experience on it, and we can work. We can start to work on it and choose the movies to talk about it. But of course, we have a lot of movies to propose, like Shutter Island, Psycho, etc. And like the other groups, we want to work with universities and professionals to present the movies. And after the Cine Club, we want to create like a coffee and cigarette. No, it's like a coffee corner to discuss after the movie. And for the media, I don't know what. Oh yeah, we want to work also with professional influencers to share the Cine Club. Have I forgot something? Yeah. Also, we know that in the university, they sometimes they create magazine a brochure about the activities of the university, and we want to share the program on it, and also on psychological magazines with a place to win in exchange. Places to.
That's great.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I just quickly want to say that, like, getting people to share experiences or whatever and then base your programming on it is actually a very interesting way of thinking about your what you're creating. It's a really cool way of co-creating. So that's I think that's inspiring, at least. Thank you.
Hi. We also had the on the Freud track, but we decided it would be part of a monthly cooperation with the university. So every month is another studies central, and this time is psychiatry, psychology. The main target group are the students and the teachers, and we want to co-create with them. So ask them what is the topic you want to discuss afterwards, which speakers do you want to invite, and then organize it for them. The tagline is Hitchcock meets Freud, and we want to be wanted to be part of the semester, so it's verplicht.
Mandatory.
Mandatory, yeah. And the challenge is to get collaboration with the university. That's it.
Thank you. Group number 7. All right. I've lost count. Group number 8, right? Yeah. Okay. I also lost count. Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to organize a multiple day event. It's called Keep Dreaming, the correlation between dreams and cinema. And it's going to be an event with movies like Spellbound, but also maybe more popular movies like Inception or Blue Velvet. But it will also have art installations, like, for example, a VR experience of a Dali painting. And we will also put beds in our foyer where people can relax or take part in the side programs where we will also talk about dreams in the cinema, in movies. So there will be a big side programming. The people we're trying to reach are just basically people who are interested in dreaming. In art. So I think it will mostly be young people, but everybody's invited. The way we're going to reach these people is first through lucid dreaming, but we will also start putting beds outside in the city. So we will put the bed in a lake or on a square. So we will start with guerrilla marketing, basically. Then, as the date nears of the event, we will also go on social media and start showing what these beds were meant to do, because we want to invite guests of the program to record themselves while they're in these beds, and we ask them questions like, "What do you dream about?" And we actually also want to ask these questions to people that are somewhere near the bed. We will use QR codes near the bed so people can scan it, and then we ask the question, "What do you dream about?" Answer this question, and you can win a prize or tickets to the event. So this way we try to get email addresses or social media accounts so we can reach these people. So basically the key elements is that it's a multiple day event, not only films. There will be talks, there will be sleeping sessions, a lot of stuff. This way we try to use by going very lowbrow, we try to attract people to films that might be a bit more highbrow, but give them like easy ways into the film by focusing especially on the dream element. So challenges are that the guerrilla marketing may completely fail. Hobos start sleeping in the bed, or the municipality doesn't want to work with us. Also, or exhibition rights, if we want to, for example, use these old movies or like VR installations, maybe we don't get the rights for these things. That's basically it.
Thank you. Well, great ideas from everyone. Do you want to share anything? Otherwise, I just have one general remark I want to. Yeah. All right. So I think it's interesting that in this session you either decide to create an event based on the movie, and then you find the audience based on the movie, or you do it the other way around. You say like, we want to target a young audience, and then we try to find something we can do with this movie for the young audience, because of course you pick this movie. What I just want to give back to you all is, when you talk about the young audience, I think you should be more specific, because specifically young people do not see themselves as a young person, as one homogeneous group. So think back to your own youth. You were probably part of a subculture, like maybe like a skater or whatever you were. So I think it would be relevant to think of youth in that way. Look at a subculture, and it will also give you more inspiration in creating an event and targeting them. And they will probably connect quickly, way quicker with what you're doing than just going for a general, we're going to target 14-year-olds, because there is no 14-year-old, I think. Well, that's it. Do with it whatever you want.
I mean, I was really impressed, and it just shows credit to exhibitors for your amazing creative minds in such a short time to come up with all these ideas. And it's interesting to see the connecting themes. So the potential we have to collaborate on releases, and not just in our own countries, but also internationally, is incredible, because we are coming to similar conclusions. I was really impressed by you all thought about why this, why now. You thought about the context, and you also tackled some of the challenges of showing all the works. So by looking at women's perspective in it, but giving it a nice twist. And I think what the Freud should be the sentence of the lab. I love it. But yeah, we're going to move straight into a little marathon of presentations. Yeah. But we are, after that, we are going to go to a sort of beautiful place to eat Bertino's. And I think it's interesting to, when you go to that space, think about the experience that they're providing and the atmosphere. So that will be a little lunch homework. But we're going to go straight into the presentation. So let me just get the app up. So first up, we're going to invite Franco Savelli, who's going to talk about trying to make the positive effects of events last. So I think that's a really important one. You know, great to think of exciting initiatives, but how does it then sustain your venue long term? Because we all know we've got limitations around staff, around capacity, and so on. So yes, let's get excited, but also how can that have a long-term impact? Okay, take it away.
Yes. Okay.
I'll give you a little sign when you're about to pass your time.
Okay.
Because we have some minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, I'm Franco Savelli. I work for a company called Cinemaincentro that manages 4 indoor cinemas, single-screen cinemas in 3 different towns. So actually, the thing I'm talking you about is a series of events we organized that, and the idea started from a need, from a necessity that came out. And this is something that I've seen many times talking to other exhibitors, and it is that it seems, especially in those years after COVID, we have the feeling that we have to work harder, to put much more effort to get to the same result as before. And this is the first thing. The other thing is related especially to event programming, and is that many times events end up to be a one-night stand. You put a lot of effort in it, okay, yeah. Maybe in the end the event is even successful, but then you wake up the day after and it seems like you have to start again from zero, like never happened. Okay, so what was our solution? We, in the end, in some ways, serialized the event programming. And so we create a series of events for the whole winter season. And, well, we give it a name. We put it every week in the same day of the week. The name Finalmente giovedi means something like, thank God it's Thursday. So it was always on Thursday. And this is some important thing, but I'll come to it later. We always presented it in blocks or at least 5 or 6 events, not by themselves. And we worked together with some association, with the main film club of the town, and with an independent bookshop. Together it means we involve them in the whole organization of this kind of film festival, exhibition, review, call it as you want. And another thing that we did, we give it a name, we give it a logo, the one that you saw before in the slide before, and a graphic design. This kind of blue wall that I used in my slide is the actual graphical design for this event, for these events. And they were always the same, to the point that some people started referring to it as the thing with the blue wall. Yeah. And well, okay. And well, I'm not such a great fan of marketing experts, but I think they would call it a brand. They would call this thing a brand. Okay. So now I just show you 2 aspects of what this meant. First one, the involvement of other subjects on a series of events that was 1 season long. It means that through them, we had the chance to reaching a wider audience. It means that, I go to the last part, to the last point, we had the chance to share with them the effort of organizing and promoting. So for once, we are talking about something that doesn't add up work to the work we are already doing, but something that leaves some work of us and allow us to share it with others. And the second point is quite important to me, and it relates to the fact of presenting the events in blocks of 5 or 6. Usually, when you involve an association in an event, they tend to promote just that event and nothing else. If you put all together, in some ways, you trick them into promoting the whole thing. In promoting their own event, the one they feel like they relate to the topic, they invited some guest, so it is their own event. They are forced, in some ways, to promote all the others. And so, this is about involving other subjects. The other point I want to talk about is this fact of creating a brand. And, well, creating a brand in this case means creating a container, a lasting container, for the audience interest and for the loyalty, for the trust. You can, at some point, you see that this kind of trust, this kind of attachment is related
to the brand, to the container. So this allows you at some point to capitalize on the visibility that you have through some of the events. Like for instance, when you invite a director, no matter how unknown he or she is, you usually get some visibility in newspapers. You usually don't have anyone actually showing up that night, but it gets you to the newspaper. That is quite important, and in this way you can capitalize on that to actually promote better the events that you have the weeks after. And well, this gives you also the chance to include difficult films, hard films to sell. Like for instance, we actually managed to show the restored version of La Maman et la Putaine, and well, we had people showing up. I mean, actual people in flesh and bone. This is, I'm joking, but I mean, the film obviously is marvelous, but it was really hard to sell in Italy. It's very long, it's very hard to sell. So also the distributors were very happy with that, because we had a very huge result. And well, the last thing about this is that you can manage to have a spillover effect on standard programming. This, all this, like this interest, this trust, this loyalty, well, it spills over on standard programming. This allows us to, like, I'll show you, this is not for, I don't mean to show off, it's just to give you the idea. We are talking about a cinema, a very small cinema, 97 seats in a town with 150 inhabitants. So we are talking something very peripheral. And yet we managed, like for the first weekend of Corsage, to get to the 5th results in this region, Bologna included, and to the 6th with the first weekend of The Fabelmans. And so, showing you a bit of the result we had, just because I have to say something before that, maybe you don't know. Italy right now is among the countries that are struggling the most to recover from COVID years. You can see it easily in the data that Europa Cinema provides. And so for us, maybe in other countries it's not like that. For us, talking about complete recovery is something huge. So, methodological notes. These results are about revenue and not attendance, because we gather much more data on revenue than on attendance, because my boss is much more interested in money than he is in people. No, I'm joking. A bit. Well, partially. Okay, so I use the index numbers. So I set to 100 the average of the 3 years period between 2017 2019, and the numbers that you see are the single seasons, and well, is simply, for instance, 110 means 10% more, 90 means 10% less, 200 means double, 50 means half, just to give you a general idea. So as you can see, we had quite consistent results in the years before COVID. Then we were closed. Then the season of 2021 and 22 was kind of half the result of the 3-year period before. And introducing this series of events, we managed in this season, this winter season, 2022 and 23, to go back to the result we used to have before, precisely back. And this was the only cinema among the 4 that we manage that were able to do that, that has been able to do that. And so this is pretty much it. Just one thing that I just wanted to say, and I'm closing, okay. Yeah, I know. I don't want to put myself between hungry people and lunch, yeah. It's just, it's just that, as I said, this work in one cinema, because we find the perfect set of conditions in there. It didn't work so well in others, so it means that it may not work in other places. I always distrust, as we said these last few days, I always distrust people coming to you with a magical recipe, a solution for everyone, for all. So I just hope that there was some insights that you can bring back home. Well, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for sharing. And for someone who says he doesn't like marketing managers, this is like a perfect marketing strategy. It just put before us. So yeah, super inspiring. We're going straight to the next person, and we have to ask you to sit down because it doesn't work for the stream if we stand in front of the screen, which I shouldn't do.
Which one would you want?
Well, which one's the next person on the schedule is Zlatko. There you are. Come and have a sit.
And this one just seems to work now.
Yeah, no, we can just use this one. You can use laptop to scroll through your
okay.
thing.
So
Just
this one?
The arrow. Yeah. And I'll just give you a little sign.
Okay. I'll be much shorter and leave time for discussion. So this is the Museum of Contemporary Art, where our Cinema Metropolis is located. These are 2 posters of the cinema, and in between the poster of the European Film Festival that we are organizing since 2012. So inside the museum building, there is the multimedia hall, and so we share the space with the museum and with the other performances that are held inside this multimedia hall that has 2,033 seats. So inside the hall there is the jazz concert. Upstairs there is the exhibitions of contemporary art that sometimes can be really inspiring. Then same in the hall, there is theater, drama and dance. These are the film manifestations we organize. So Pula in Zagreb is a review of national films, European Cinema Night, you all know. The European Film Festival at the right, and on the left there is the EU and me screening European shorts and features for €2 per night, and the European Film Festival is free entrance. This is some photos from our film repertoire. Okay, and so how the main challenge is how to use this disadvantage as our advantage. So to having so many artistic events at the same time, and the solution is called the Summer at MSU program. I'll briefly present you. This is one of the central cultural and artistic events during the summer months in Zagreb, both for the citizens and for tourists. The program Summer at MSU presents a cross-section of current artistic events as well as the latest artistic discoveries of the multidisciplinary art. So it's held once a week, Friday or Saturday, in 5 sessions from June 16 to July 14. Statistics for the past 10 years said we had 164 programs, 52 concerts, 51 film screenings, 36 performances, 15 large exhibitions, 12 literary forums, and more than 40,000 visitors. So it's traditionally held in the afternoon and the evening hours. The main event of the evening is the concert of the best bands in the region. As you can see on the second photo, there is from the summer program. It's it's a parking space actually, and we turned it into a concert venue, and the building is above, so it's covered from the rain. So the most popular part are this pop concert, and they are linked with films. With one ticket, you can see the film, go to a concert, and see the exhibitions. So the film, for example, for this year, we chose 3 of them are musical films: Moonage Daydream, about David Bowie; Tar, conductor Ennio, about Morricone, and we added also Triangle of Sadness as a bit of summer inside it. And so there is also the dance program, as you have seen on this photo, and we are not doing classical drama theater, but more modern dance. Also the ticket allows free entry to the new large exhibition Futures, which presents top Croatian and international contemporary artists. So finally, throughout a combination of music, exhibitions, film and dance, the Summer at MSU program tries to get closer to the concept of Gesamtkunstwerk, so a complete artistic experience that results from collaboration of different forms of art and pop culture and bringing them closer to a wider audience.
I love that word, Gesamtkunstwerk. Yes. I think also as like a single ticket for like that many experiences must be really smart, must really help in getting people to actually see the cinema, even see the movie, even though they come for a exhibition or a concert.
Yes, because people often perceive them, I go to one type event, and so we had like Moonage Daydream on a regular repertoire getting 30 persons, and now it got for 150 because people were going to the concert afterwards, and I said, okay, let's watch a movie, it's included in the ticket. And so it mixes audience of various parts of the building that usually don't go to each other events, but it's only one afternoon, evening, so they just go see it.
They can take a chance because they've already paid, so there's less of a barrier to go. Well, I think that's inspiring for everyone, because even if you don't have a beautiful building like you have with all these functions, that you often have different functions within the city or the village that you operate in. So these kinds of collaborations, whether or not it's your own organization, can be very useful apparently. So thank you for sharing. Really great. We're going to Eva, who is over there.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our events and how we try to create more added value around the movie screenings. So with our background of the film festival and the COVID pandemics behind us and the growth of online possibilities, we really realized that we need to create added value and create like a full experience around the movie, and like focus on bringing people together to the cinema. And so we thought about kind of events to like create added value so people would come to the cinema again. We also did this because we want to keep our audience from the film festival alive during the year, because we want to keep interesting them, bringing them movies, because there's no movie possibilities or like any other events around movies in our city. So we're the only ones who creating this outlet for all the people who love movies. So I brought 4 personas with me. We have more, but I decided to focus on these 4 people. They are like the people we already have and one we want to have, like the full film fan. And we thought it was important to know what they want and what they want to pay. So the full film fan is already interested in a regular program, but are looking for in-depth programming and is willing to pay for the added value. We have the young families who are looking for family-friendly events for an accessible price. The retired couple who are also frequent visitors, want to know the program in advance and are comfortable to pay. And then the potential youth, we don't have that one that much yet because they are overflown with information, have a busy schedule and need something interesting to be persuaded and willing to pay, like they're not willing to pay that much of money. So with this 4 in mind, we think it's important to create the added value to cross the potential threshold, holding them back to visit film or cinema. So I brought some examples and added some pictures. One of the things we organize on date on release is premieres of Flemish movies. And we always treat it as like opening night of our festival. So we roll out the red carpet, we have a photo wall, we do a Q&A, meet and greet, we invite the press to create a lot of buzz around the movie. And people who distribute the movie love us for it because they are really happy that we create a buzz around the movie in our city, which they normally don't really, they don't really have the audience otherwise. What we also do is look for ways to use the movie and like do something special, create buzz. For example, we had a movie about a skater girl, and we invited all the skaters from our town, like young people, and they like use the red carpet as a, how do you call it? Like, I don't know, ramps and stuff. And then afterwards they could attend the movie for free. So it was also a way to like get a new audience. We also had a movie around influencers, so we invited some, and then the public could make TikToks. You can see it there on the right. We also had a movie about like the MotoGP, and we invited all the motorcycles, and they like ride with their bikes on the red carpet. So we try to have like something that creates buzz. Then we also had like an open cinema day. It was actually an initiative of our Flemish Film Fund to get the audience to the cinema again and create the added like experience. But every cinema was allowed to have their own event. So it was an event that was in all the cinemas around Belgium. We chose for the young audience and did like a silent disco on the red carpet. Gave like free, I don't know how we say it in English, shrimp, croquettes, yeah, because it's like typical in Ostend. And you see it's like a nice mix of older and younger people. So that was really interesting to see because the movie was a Rebel of Adil and Bilal. So it also attracted the older audience, but they were really excited to learn about silent disco and they were like, wow, how does it work? So it was a really nice combination of people. Yes. And then we have my last one, is Meet the Masters. This is one that goes deeper into the movie aspect. So every month we invite a Flemish film professional and they talk with a film historian, Anke Brouwers, about one filmmaker. So it can be Hitchcock or Jean Renoir or Francis Ford Coppola, Sofia Coppola, we had them already. And like they choose one movie and then the introduction is like 40-45 minutes and they really talk about the movie, the period of time, what it's meant for filmmaking now, and also the personal bond. Like, for example, we had a Belgian filmmaker who met Francis Ford and he represented Apocalypse Now. So that was really cool to have like his personal stories. Like he went to dinner with him in Hollywood, and like it's nice to have the personal bond as well. And then we watched the movie together. So yeah, that's also something that attracts both young and older people, because the older people like to see the movie again, and the youngers want to learn more about the history of film. With the format, we also added a podcast, so people who couldn't attend also can learn about the film history through the podcast. So you can follow it without going to the screening, and we have codes for like an online platform sooner where you can watch the movie at home. So you can do it in real life, but we also bring it to the home to like broaden or reach. So yeah, and we have like the branding, and it's monthly, so I think it goes with the presentation of before it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say, just that sounds really smart, is to create an online component where you can reuse what you've created in your event, also to attract people that haven't come and inform them of what you've done, but also to maybe even reuse it in an upcoming event. So that's that sounds like a great idea. Of course, hard to make. So really
yeah, it
props
has
for
like
that.
a cost, but it also has a broader audience, so it pays back because you reach more people. So it's worth the investment of the podcast.
It becomes less of a one-night stand.
Yes,
actually.
exactly.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah. All right, then I'm going to invite Baris to come over. Yeah. Baris is the person who made the beautiful, cool trailers that Zuleya showed us yesterday. I don't want to hype the expectations for his presentation, but...
Hello, nice to meet you all. My name is Baris Azman. I'm a screenwriter and I'm a film director. And 7 years ago, I started together with Zuleya, the marketing director of Kino Rotterdam, to work freelance for them, making film trailers. I've done a couple of them for also other people like Cinea in Belgium. Oh. Yeah, Europa Cinemas. I did some for iFilm Museum, and also sometimes I do like new film trailers of classic releases. Being a filmmaker myself, my latest personal project was a film documentary about the lost photographs of Apocalypse Now. It premiered here in Bologna in 2019. Mubi acquired it, and we were lucky enough that Mr. Francis Ford Coppola saw it as well, and he wanted it on the Blu-ray. So we're on the Blu-ray as well. For film trailers, it kind of happened because all the old film trailers that were available were very long. They were like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and like the young audience didn't really react to them. So we decided to like make our own film trailers, and it started like first with we had one film, and then we had to make a trailer for one film. But the programming slowly started to change. Jan, our film programmer, started making collection programs. Like we'd have 4 or 5 films all based on Morricone soundtracks. We'd have 3 films based on Terrence Malick's stuff. So we'd have to make kind of a new special trailer based on that programming, not just on one film, but based on 4 or 5 films. In the beginning, it was not easy, but it was doable because if you make a trailer about 3 Terrence Malick films, he does have his own kind of style. The films of Godard have their own kind of style. It became a lot more difficult when the programming changed, when for instance, we'd have a special programming only with 5 films of the actor Daniel Day-Lewis, or we'd have films based on a single location like Tokyo. And then we'd have to make a trailer based on that programming. and then you have to kind of come up with your own style, I think, to sell the movie, because they're very diverse films. Sometimes it changes because, for instance, with Daniel Day-Lewis, because he was a method actor, we came up with the idea to use the song by Method Man from the Wu-Tang Clan. So we'd use a hip-hop soundtrack to emphasize all his crazy behaviors and sell the movie, sell the program in that way. For instance, the other projects, like Tokyo is such a diverse big city, and there were, I believe, 8 different kinds of films in that program that have nothing to do with each other except that they play in Tokyo. So it became kind of more of like a sort of music video or a short film that we did with different kinds of music along in it. These trailers work really well. People react really well to them. We show them online, but we also show them in the cinema. And we always see like ticket sales go really up if we make a trailer for a special program. So what happened is that we also started to doing trailers for programs that aren't films, but like club nights in Kino. Every year there's the International Film Festival Rotterdam in Kino, and we also have like a club night, so you can go party, disco. So we make a trailer for that. We had, after the lockdown, when the cinema reopened, we made a 5-minute short film edit about people being lonely during the lockdown, and then after that becoming available again to the outside world. And what happens after that is that we also, for instance, we bought a 70mm projector, and we found out that like the new generation was having a lot of difficulty with understanding what 70mm was, and we'd have to keep explaining it. So we thought maybe we should make a small documentary, 5, 6, 7 minutes, of the owners of Kino explaining to the audience what it was with examples and stuff like that. And yeah, like I said, the biggest project that we had was the documentary, which we funded on our own, and it was actually released. In the past 7 years, I did more than 100 trailers for Kino. They can all be viewed on my website and on the Kino's website, which is upstairs. And I would like to show one trailer as a final screen, and I would need the sound for that. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think we have to shut something off.
Oh. Thank you for that. You know you've been a bit of a star for the last few years, so it's a real honor to actually have you in the flesh. No, but I think it's really your work's really inspired lots of exhibitors already, and I hope it can inspire more to think about your own content. I mean, we're selling cinema at the end of the day. You've already put it on here, videography, but I think the key is to find someone like you in your location that can help you really develop that. And there might be someone in your team that's doing that kind of work. I think it's fantastic, honestly, and it really makes you think more creatively about those pre-show reels, because I hear a lot of exhibitors can be, show adverts, which, okay, bring a revenue, which is important because we all need to have a revenue from advertising, but to really think of claiming back that screen and really thinking more creatively around the content we put out there. So hopefully you've got lots of inspiration from this. I think we're going to bring this to a close because it's lunchtime, and you're in for a treat and a very special experience. So get ready for Bertino's and save yourself for the pudding tray. That's my top tip. Yeah, and we say goodbye to our online audience. I'm so sorry you won't experience Bertino's. It's a sad day for you.